This Euro 2024 Picks edition of the Sports Gambling Podcast is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. You can win up to 325 times your entry with their new Pick 8. Sign up with SGPN to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 of bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get the best data driven props and picks from Rhythm. Claim your 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM.
Hey, this is Derek Stevens. I'm the owner of Circa Las Vegas. You're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Cox.
He's one of those guys who will get penetration.
Welcome everyone to the Sports Gambling Podcast. I'm Sean, stacking the money green with my partner in picks, Ryan Real Money Kramer. What's happening, Kramer?
Dog.
Hello, Sean.
Hello. Top of the morning to you.
Oh yeah, so talking a little soccer.
Yes, you got your kit on. You look very fancy, Ryan.
I will say unrelated. This surfaced in the house recently. It's actually worn as a high school version of me, which is interesting. Must have worn baggy clothes back then. I think that was.
This is a jersey.
Actual,
wow.
actual authentic.
So you wait in soccer they play with a collared shirt on.
I like going back. It's like some of the stuff they used to wear was ridiculous. Rugby played in college, collar also on those jerseys. So that's rugby. But yeah, I mean,
rugby makes sense. I've never seen a soccer jersey with a collar.
You know the origin, right? The two dudes were in a bar in England and they couldn't agree on the rules and they left, and one created soccer, one created rugby. That's a true story.
Really?
So yeah, they both like collars, I guess.
One thing we can agree on is having collars on our kits, making sure we're nice and fancy. All right, we're gonna break down some Euro 2024,
AKA daytime betting. That's really the way to frame this to the soccer haters out there.
Yeah, if you're saying soccer's, whatever,
Fugazi,
you love America, you hate soccer. Sure, that's a valid point, but gambling trumps all, and it is some sweet daytime action. We're going to be joined by a gentleman in a second. Give us some winners. Speaking of winners, Circa giving away 16 million guaranteed for the Circa Survivor Circa Million. Sign up in Vegas and play anywhere, and use our proxy. We got a sweet deal. Footballcontestproxy.com, promo code SGP, get you $50 off. Football Contest Proxy, promo code SGP, and of course, college baseball experience live streaming, getting you ready for the greatest show on dirt, aka College World Series, going until the end of June with Noah Beanick.
He better be doing Jello shots on the air. Right?
Oh yeah. Rocco's Bar.
I want to see his name photoshopped on the bottom of the list. How many Jello shots?
Yeah, maybe we can. If you're going to the College World Series, ask if you can get Noah's name listed, and we'll see how many shots we can get for Noah.
Just Noah works. And Sean, just to follow through,
sure.
6 a.m., 9 a.m., and noon every day. That's when the games are
for West Coast time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's perfect.
Oh,
yeah.
What do you? Yeah, that's pretty much gets you to the part of the day.
So 9, noon, and 3 if you're on the East Coast. That's ideal.
You're not doing
times.
shit all day, except for betting on these games. You're going to learn a lot about Albania. I mean, everyone's seen the movie Taken, but now we're going to watch their soccer team play.
Joining us on the line, the host of the Soccer Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network, Billi Bahate. Billy, what's happening, man?
Hey, I never seen that intro before at the start. The little intro that we made for YouTube. I've never seen that before.
Nice.
I'm wondering how after 10 years I get in that, because I was in the studio last year. You could have just shot a 2-second clip. I could have just waved to be on there for half a second maybe.
Well, of course, happy 10-year anniversary to Billi Bahate. Been with SGPN all the way back, Ryan.
We have to pull back.
Yeah, tell the story of Billy.
Well, forget the story. We can get into. I'm sure Billy will tell us that story, but more the story of this show. When I say, "Hey, Billy, give us a rough outline." Bullet number 1:
10 years of sucker. Transparently tracked profit, 80 million weeks.
It was just the perfect way for. Yeah, no, 2014. I think he seeked us out because he was maybe listening for our football knowledge, and absolutely slayed the World Cup in 2014. And I remember it. I mean, Sean, you probably remember it because it was one of the hottest gambling streaks you went on for a little bit there in the old school offshore days.
Yeah, no, it's funny because I was working in this same office where our office is now. I was working for a website company, and I was spending my days just getting down on action that we had in the World Cup. It was 10 years ago this summer. It was the 2014 World Cup, right, Billy?
That's it. Yeah. 2014 World Cup. And I really put it on there because when we started, it was like this whole, okay, so it's an extra thing to do. And the same thing, it comes on at a time where you can wake up and gamble in the morning. 10 years later, the narrative is still, okay, we don't like this, but we can still get up and gamble in the morning.
The narrative hasn't changed. I know Ryan's a soccer ambassador. I know every year it's like, hey, get ahead. This soccer thing's going to catch on in America one of these years.
It is. We are more, it's very accessible now. All the Premier League games are on, no different than Sunday Ticket in this country, but yeah, no, it's still soccer. That's the thing. You do need an advantage, like playing a tournament in the summer when nothing else is going on, and people will get into this shit. I think that's the thing. You know, coming out of the pandemic, people are way more soccer aware, and this again, the timing is perfect because it's either work all day or watch these games all day. Easy pick.
Well, also, and a quick sidebar, but this just shows you how dumb baseball is. Like baseball, MLB should have day games going every single day of the summer because
don't want to compete with Euros.
I'm saying like people are hanging out. If you have to work in the summer, if you're in the office, you want to put something on in the background, you want to put a couple bucks on it. Euros are great, but
I'll put
baseball
my foot down
had a
there.
chance.
Soccer is better than baseball.
Wow. All right. Hot take, Ryan. Hot take. I see Moonoff, host of the MLB game on the podcast, is in there.
Better than baseball. I mean, you got the cricket to watch. Yeah, the cricket's better than baseball.
Well, now we're massive cricket fans after we took down
fucking
Pakistan. Billy, what was the odds for America to upset Pakistan in cricket?
I think it would have been approximately plus 1,600, going up against minus.
Wow.
I think minus 10,000. It would have been.
I did read. I did read that it was basically like the dream team losing. So yeah, good on us, right?
Good on us, Ryan.
Anyway,
that's their national sport. So like that's the number one sport in Pakistan and India. So they take to the streets. Kids are given a cricket bat like as soon as they can walk. So to do that, there will be repercussions for that. Like there'll be a lot of criticism towards that team, especially as they lost to their rivals India immediately afterwards. And they were in a winning position in that game as well. So they've lost now to the USA. Obviously, the Pakistanis don't like Americans. And they really expected to win that cricket match. And then they lose to India as well. And Pakistanis don't like Indians either. So that wasn't a good week for them.
Tough stretch for the Pakistani cricket team.
Oh, I mean, and our captain is got a day job up there in the Bay working for Oracle.
He's at Oracle, burning the midnight oil. But we're here talking Euro 2024. Explain to us the importance of Euros 2024. What does it mean in the soccer landscape, Billy?
Well, it was for me the second most important tournament in soccer because it's essentially the World Cup minus Argentina and Brazil. They were the two. Well, arguably, but actually, I'm going to make that point because nowadays African teams are a lot more competitive, and USA, they gave England a game in the last World Cup, so you are having more countries come through. So the World Cup is more of the World Cup than it used to be, where it really used to be Brazil and Argentina versus Europe. So the European Championship was seen as a very strong competition because you didn't previously get those easy wins. You didn't get those easy wins against the third world countries who made it to the World Cup and African countries when they were weaker. So the World Cup was actually easier to win at one point than the Euros. The problem is that when you look at the Champions League now, all players from around the world play in the Champions League. It's not the German teams don't just have German players. The English teams don't just have English players. So the Champions League is like a World Cup for clubs. because all the best players play in Europe, arguably, because Messi's obviously playing in America. But I mean, I still think the US and Saudi are somewhat retirement homes, although players are going there a little earlier than they used to. Instead of going there after 35, some people are taking contracts in their early 30s. But the point is that the Champions League is now such a strong competition that it almost pushes the European Cup back to third. Another reason why it's been watered down is because this is happening a lot. The Champions League next year is going to get bigger. They're allowing more teams into it. So the qualification round is 8 games. This tournament has now been stretched to 24 teams. And in the group stage, we only lose 8. So there's going to be a round of 16. We're going to play all of these group games that we're going to talk about, but only 8 teams out of 16 are going to go. And it does seem like a lot of it is geared towards sponsorship, TV revenue, which is watering down competitions all across sport where they're playing too many games. If you look back to, showing my age, but when I was 5 years old, there was Euro 1988. And in Euro 1988, it was 8 teams. The whole competition had 9 games. You had 2 groups. The top 2 went through in both groups and played a semi-final. So there were 9 games overall, 6 group games and 2 semis and a final. And it was the creme de la creme. England in that competition lost all 3 of their games in the group to Ireland, Soviet Union at the time, and Holland. But it was almost acceptable because it was the creme de la creme of Europe. We don't quite have that now. As to your point earlier, Albania are in it, and there are a few other teams who have made it through. Romania, Albania. They're not going to do anything in this competition, but it does allow them to play in a European Cup. So this will really start when the round of 16 starts, when serious teams can get knocked out. But, for that reason, but it's still a very important competition. It's still going to decide who wins the European Cup. They'll still be in there with history. And it's also wide open. 8 of the last 9 competitions have had a different winner. So you don't get these repeat winners because, there's only a handful of strong teams. 8 different teams have won the last 9 of these. So it is wide open.
I do like the idea. I mean, I was going to ask the obligatory, why didn't the U.S. qualify for the event?
What group why did we not qualify?
No.
Really?
Well, this is the funny thing, because this has more integrity than Copa America because it does have an actual qualification process, whereas Copa America will invite teams to play. I know USA and Canada have been invited to the Copa America, which is a South American Cup, the South American equivalent to this. But this is very much like an established competition, has a qualification process. You qualify. You take 2 years to qualify for it. So yeah, that's why the USA.
You like how South America kisses the ring? These fucking Europeans.
Yeah, come on.
Where's our honorary?
Well, speaking of Europeans, is it true England lost to Iceland in a friendly?
Yeah, what the fuck is that?
What's going on there, Billy?
Yeah, England lost to Iceland in a friendly, and England actually got knocked out to Iceland in the 2016 Euros as well. So
Iceland has their number, huh?
Yeah, this is a bogey team. I don't know what. I mean, we did beat them 4-0 in 2020, but yeah, I mean, it's not a good omen for England. I know it's only friendly games, and people will turn around and say that they were experimenting and they were trying things. But the first half of that game, it was very close to the team that you're going to see start against Serbia on Sunday. So it was concerning. But I mean, we'll talk about England when we run through the groups. We'll talk about individual teams, and then we'll get to the outrights. But yeah, I have a lot of concerns about England. I don't think the market placement of England, whether your book has them as a favourite or a second favourite, it kind of switches between England and France. But wherever you look, they're the top 2, and then there's a huge gap down to Germany and Portugal, which I don't agree with.
All right.
Yeah, I mean we're sharp, so we put the Frenchman on the thumbnail. Didn't want to get involved in these shaky Europeans with the big time competitions. But to Billy's earlier point, and you'll see this as we go through the groups. Competition really does start once the tournament starts because lot of heavy chalk when it comes to the advanced markets.
Hey, before we hit into the group picks, sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM. Just had one of the guys from Rhythm on our show. That was a lot of fun breaking down NBA Game 3.
Philly guy, that's what I like.
Yeah, Eagles fan, good guy. Still time to get over there, and if you haven't got Rhythm yet, what are you waiting for? 7-day free trial. and tons of player props for the NBA, also WNBA, golf, the US Open's coming up, NFL obviously right around the corner. It's really cool. You can personalize your own model or just let them build a model for you. Really get some cool projections, actionable stuff that you can cash in on. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm, RITHMM. Get you a 7-day free trial. Kramer, let's rattle through the groups. What do we got?
All right, yeah. So Group A: Germany, Switzerland, Hungary, Scotland. Like I said, Germany heavy chalk, -280 to win it, even crazier to advance. Billy can explain the rules. 550 for Switzerland to win it. Hungary +950. And Sean, the Scottish are 11-1 to win the group.
Really?
Billy, what's the skinny with Group A here? And I guess explain how many. I would assume group winners plus how many advance.
Okay, so it's a little bit complicated. The guaranteed teams that go through are the top 2 from every group. Then you're going to get 4 third-place teams to make up the 16. So there's 6 groups. The top 2 are going to go through from every single group.
Okay.
And then four third-place teams are going to go through. So you can see from that, it is you have to do quite badly to get eliminated. And mathematically, you really only need to win 1 game to go through. It's very difficult for you to be toppled if you've got a win because you've got 3 points already. And then across the board, you would need 4 other teams to have more than 3 points in groups where, for example, there's a group where you have to play Holland and France in the same group. So it would be difficult for teams in that group to accumulate more than 1 win. We're playing against those 2. So yeah, it is quite, like I said, it is quite pointless to some extent. But I guess the main thing that can happen here is that if a team such as Italy, Spain, Holland, Belgium, if they end up getting eliminated at this stage, you could see a coach getting fired. Like you could basically see someone make a decision and go, "Hey, you got eliminated in this very easy qualification phase. We don't want to keep you for the World Cup in 2 years' time in the US." That's the main thing you could see. A complete disaster of a tournament.
And is there, like, for Germany -6,000 to advance, obviously huge favorites.
It sounds like basically if they win a game, impossible for them not to advance.
Yeah, but also is there advantage in the seeding to winning your group? So like, let's say they win that first game, are they going to be resting their guys, or are they going to be playing their starters? Like, is there a home field? Are you going to be matched up, I assume, to like a number 3 team or something in one of these other groups? Are they going to be playing to win the group? Is what I'm getting at.
Well, for Germany, the tournament's in Germany, so wherever they land, they'll be playing at home. So that's the first thing. But you want to win the group because you're more likely to play a team that places 3rd. So that's why in this competition it becomes even more easier. Like, whereas I say that it starts in the next round, well, a group winner could come up against. For 4 of the group winners are going to play 4 teams that finish in 3rd position. So those four group winners will be in very, very strong positions to advance all the way to the quarters, which is the expectation for Germany, the expectation for Portugal. Germany have only really got their act together in the last few months. They've appointed a new coach, Nagelsmann, who was fired as the Bayern Munich manager because for crazy reasons, some of the players just didn't get on with him. They didn't like being told what to do by a manager who was in his 30s because he was younger. He was younger than some of the senior players. There was a famous argument with Robert Lewandowski, who's the main striker who was at Bayern Munich, and Nagelsmann tried to tell him something tactically, to which he responded to going, "Did you score 40 goals last year?" to his manager, which wouldn't have happened if the guy.
No, generally
that wouldn't have been the case if the guy was. No, but generally the coach is also, a 40 to 50-year-old guy who's experienced. He's got more experience in managing, but he's still like a well sought after manager. And since he's taken the German job, other clubs have come in for him to take him after this tournament. But he wants to see this all the way through to the World Cup, because what Germany have is a good group of players who are not playing as a team. But recently they've got positive results against France, positive results against the Netherlands. Now, whilst you can't read too much into international friendlies, because they're hosting the tournament, this is all this team have to go on. So for 2 years, they haven't had a competitive game of football. They have to be judged on their friendlies. So it's very hard to get a gauge on where Germany are, but it's very, very difficult to not see them winning this group. At the same time, a stat here relating to hosts. Hosts haven't won this tournament since 1984, but the hosts have reached the semi-finals in 8 of the last 10. So the hosts, 80% of the time, since 1984, they do get to the semis, but then they fall short because they haven't won it since 84.
Very interesting there. That sounds a lot like the NBA. Players get talking down to their coaches.
Well, this would be like if the Lakers hired JJ Redick and LeBron was like, "Did you put up 30 a game last playoffs?" Well, also Ryan, if you could go back and please bleep out. Billy accidentally said football there, so I just want, or maybe we can just maybe we can edit and dub him in saying soccer, just for our audience. We want to make sure. So
understood.
So Billy, Germany's going to run away with this group, but is there or are they? Because they're only minus 280. Switzerland, Hungary, Scotland in the mix there. What is it? Is there any fun bets here to advance? Maybe you just take Hungary to advance. What's your favorite play here in Group A?
Yeah, Hungary have made a lot of advancement in the last few years. They're a very, very difficult team to break down. And this is the problem with this group. Germany should advance comfortably, but I don't think we're going to see them really make a statement which gets their crowd behind them in terms of what you really want as the host nation is you want to really thump someone. You want to look convincing, but it's difficult when you're coming up against all these teams that play a defensive low block. Now, on the Soccer Gambling podcast on my show, like they know what defensive low block is, but I think here we might have a wider audience. So that's essentially where teams sit in with 7 or 8 players. So they'll use their defenders and their midfield with very little intention to score. And it's more a case of implementing a frustrating tactic. So their main ways to score will be on the counter attack when the other team, when the favorite overcommits, or they'll be looking to get set pieces where if they get corners or free kicks or throw-ins, they'll load the box up with their players. These are negative tactics. They're made famous by Jose Mourinho, who won the Champions League with Porto and Inter Milan playing these tactics. Some people call it parking the bus. It's more tactically known as implementing the low block. So Germany will have to face the low block 3 times and break it down. So I'm not expecting them to kill anybody here unless they get a very early goal in these games, which open it up. So I do expect them to go through. I do expect them to win the group, but it's not going to be as easy as that when you're coming up against teams who aren't going to go toe to toe with you. It's going to be difficult to smash anybody here.
Yeah, it's one of the there's 2 groups. I think I don't exactly recall where these were plucked from. AI helped me out, but there 2 groups have all 4 teams as favorites to advance. This is one of them.
Yeah, that's interesting. I'll take. I
think a lot of ties projected. Basically, what I'm hearing Billy say is a lot of boring ass soccer, a lot of unders maybe. So yeah, you gonna take Hungary?
Me? Yeah. Hungary to advance minus 145. What are you doing, Kramer?
I mean, my thought when I looked at these odds was just to take a stab at the Swiss, shocking people. They generally have decent quality. They also park
to win the group.
Yeah. From what I understand. And, like Billy was saying, I did a little bit of research. Sounds like there's some controversy within the German program right now, which is from what I understand, very rare. The Germans like to keep usually that kind of stuff. They don't like that kind of stuff getting out. So, Switzerland, let's take them to win the group plus 550. That sounds fun.
Billy, favorite play here from Group A?
I agree with you putting Hungary to qualify. If your book has it, you can do a dual forecast with Germany and Hungary to qualify 1 and 2.
Okay,
and that can be in any order.
We do have the exact.
It should be.
Yeah, we have those markets.
Exacted and maybe.
Yeah. Well, that's just me using the horse racing slang because I'm a big horse guy. DM me if you want to hear about the stable. All right, Group B. Hungary, huh? I didn't see this coming. Group B: Spain, Italy, Croatia, and Albania. Spain, the chalk at +100 to win it. Italy +175. Nice there. I wonder what Tommy DeVito will be doing. Croatia +400. Albania, a little bit of a long shot here, 35 to 1
to win the group.
I'm sure someone out there is saying good luck. That little Taken reference there. The Albanians really caught a stray from that movie. All right, what are we doing here? I assume we're just going to load up on the Italians, call it a day. Billy?
No, this is labeled as the group of death, but I don't think it's that likely to produce a major upset. I think Spain
is the group of death because what? It's not healthy to live in Albania. Is that why they call it the group of death? Sorry, it's just basically a group where it's a lot of the better teams grouped together, and there's a danger that we could lose one of them in this group. But I don't think that will necessarily be the case, and I don't think it will be a super competitive group where loads of teams will take points of each other. Croatia, obviously, previous World Cup finalists. Italy won the Euros last time. Spain, obviously one of the best leagues in the world with La Liga, and a lot of the players obviously play in La Liga from this team. So that's why it's seen as the group of death. And the general consensus is that all three teams go through anyway by just beating Albania. The problem is that with those friendly internationals, none of these teams really look great. And the major leagues, so you're looking at Spain, Italy, and Croatia, have most of their players play in the major leagues in Europe too. If there's any kind of hangover from a long season, it's going to be at the start of this tournament. Italy played their opening game against Albania. So if anybody struggles to beat Albania, who do play that low block, it might be Italy, which might put them in danger to qualify if they don't win this first game. But for me, Spain are like clearly the best team in the group. They have a very good mix of like young and old players. They have a 16-year-old called Yamal who's playing for Barcelona, who looks like a future best player in the world. Barcelona will do really well with their financial situation to hang on to him. But he's going to be a contender for the best young player in the tournament. Spain, like the Euros, they've only lost 2 of the last 22 games in this competition, if you exclude penalty shootouts. So usually the way Spain go out in this tournament is on penalties. What that means is that they don't lose a lot of games. And why they don't lose a lot of games is because you can't get the ball off Spain. Because despite the fact they haven't won a major competition for a long time, because the dominant period of Spain was between 2008 and 2012, they still play tiki-taka football, which is possession football, which is keeping the ball, even if it means that you don't advance forward. The idea is that you're just going to keep the ball, you're going to suffocate the opposition. And if you have the ball for 75% of the game, you can't concede a lot of goals. So if Spain win one game in this group and draw 2 and come out of it undefeated, they're likely to win the group. So for me, I think Spain will 100% qualify, and a +100 is a good price for them to win the group because they just don't lose games. Because of their ball retention, they just don't lose games. And I think for me, that's the best bet. They're the best team in the group. Spain to win the group +100. I'm in, co-signing with Billy.
Arriva Dirce, motherfucker.
So
are
Kramer,
you kidding me?
You're taking Italy.
You know what a big
+175?
strapping Italian man's gonna do to one of those tiny little Spanish tiki-taka? You know what happened? My daughter plays for a club that has more English influence in the style of soccer. And when we play these tiki-taka teams,
tiki-taka,
a lot of
what
people on the fucking ground. What he's talking about? The Spanish style.
To park the bus.
Tick, 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 tick. It's just no, not to park the bus. Just to basically hold possession, pass around, not always try to advance the ball. Nice shoulder through the sternum usually takes care of that.
Any chance Albania advance a +350? Billy.
No, I actually found a bet at +600 that they don't score a goal.
Okay.
in these group games.
Note that down.
Let's save that for the for some locks there at the end.
I like that. Give me. I assume. Yeah, you even wrote it down without me saying it. But I am going to take Italy. And shout out to Tommy DeVito, having a good camp so far. So think I'm back in on Tommy.
Is he going to make the team?
Right now, I think Tommy DeVito's on the team. Group C, England, which not in the group of death, that's good. Also avoided Iceland because they not in the
got
tournament.
their number.
Not in the tournament. England, Denmark, Serbia, and Slovenia. England, the chalk -250 to win the group. Denmark +490. 7-1 for Serbia. Slovenia 23-1. Certainly some fun long shots here. Hopefully we can have one. Do you believe in miracles story? Billy, what are we doing? England walks through this one even in spite of poor form.
It's not necessarily poor form, but it just seems like they had so long to prepare for this competition. They've been favourites to win this since the end of the last World Cup, because the general consensus is that we played better than France in the game where we got knocked out to them in the World Cup, but we still ended up losing. It was a game where France took their chances and England didn't. Harry Kane missed a penalty towards the end in the last 5-6 minutes, and France ended up going through just by being more clinical. So the idea is that England would build off that. But what's happened in the last few months is that the players who are regularly playing for England, we're looking at Grealish and Rashford, have had such bad seasons that instead of allowing them to maybe come good in this tournament and be a part of the international team, he has succumbed to public pressure, which he never did before. Because it's his luck. Because for years he's been criticised. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And it's almost like, can we swear on YouTube?
Yes.
I don't know if we can do it. Right. Okay. It's almost like he said, "Fuck it. If you guys want the England manager, you guys want to manage the team, I'll take your team to this competition instead. I'll take all the people that Twitter want in this squad, and I won't take Grealish." And I won't take Rashford, who social media do not like, because he's a Manchester United player and because he has had a bad season. And he's almost succumbed to public pressure, and he's picked a lot of people who don't have any international caps. Now, granted, they had very, very good seasons. The problem is that where are you going to play Phil Foden and Bellingham in this team, because they play in the same position? We have two world-class players who play in the same position. So someone's going to play out of position. Then you're going to have to find a way to, are you going to play Cole Palmer, who's had a really good season but has no England experience? Anthony Gordon is our only left-sided player because you didn't take both Rashford and Grealish. It seems like he's going to force Foden to play on the left where he doesn't play. Harry Kane's got a small injury coming in. And defensively, it's a complete mess. Harry Maguire, who got injured for Man United, is our most experienced defender, hasn't made the squad. John Stones got injured in the game against Iceland and hasn't trained today. Luke Shaw is our only left back, and he hasn't played for Manchester United hardly at all in 2024. And he was taken as the left back, hoping that we can put a temporary left back in for the first two games and that he can make it for the second half, the latter stages of the tournament. But how fit is he going to be to come in and play when he hasn't played any competitive football in 2024? So after having so long to prepare for this, we're going in with I don't know if you know this phrase, we're going in with square pegs in round holes. Like, it just
yes, we're familiar with that. Also, you can see how Billy very comfortable doing a podcast by himself.
Yeah, he seems very confident in the team.
No, he's not.
It sounds like he has the same problem as the American coach, a little IKB. I know better. And I got to be honest, that generally doesn't work out well for you. When you throw the young kids out there, they generally find a way to shit down their leg.
I'll say this: Denmark at +490 to win this group is a great value. I think England advances, but I think Denmark wins the group, and Denmark-England exacta is a fun bet. Am I crazy for that?
I was just going to comment that it seemed like we should send the news about Grealish not making the English team to the Caitlin Clark fans.
Oh, look, right,
because it looks like controversial decisions happening everywhere. No, sorry, Denmark +490. Billy, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm just like constantly in my car listening to English soccer fans and calling radio stations about how. Now, a lot of people are skeptical about whether we can win it, but there's this attitude that we're looking ahead to this semi-final against France, right? People have worked out the group, like fantasy planned it out. And yes, if France win the group and we win the group, and we're both going to be favourites to win, and I say we, I mean England. I'm wearing a France shirt, but England are supposed to play France if everything goes according to plan. So the way that it's mapped out, England are going to win their group, France are going to win their group, and then they're going to play each other on that side of the draw, right? And all the call-ins have been like, when we play France, we need to do this compared to last time. When we play France this time, and a lot of guys like, I'm not sure if we can beat France. The problem is that this group is, everybody thinks it's going to be 3 wins. The first game is against Serbia, right? Serbia have Milinkovic-Savic, Dusan Vlahovic. They basically Dusan Tadic. They're loaded with players who play all across Europe, who are influential around Europe. Now Milinkovic-Savic has moved to the Saudi league. So is Alexander Mitrovic. But Alexander Mitrovic was a striker who caused havoc in the Premier League in the air. So when we play against this team without Maguire and possibly without John Stones, and playing 2 brand new centre-backs in the Euros, after going through since the World Cup and playing all of these nonsensical friendly internationals and qualifying games where England have breezed through them, now the tournament starts, we're going to have to play a new centre-back pairing we've never played. And we're playing against all of these 6'4", 6'5" players with one of the smallest goalkeepers in the tournament as well, in Pickford, who's a good shot stopper, but he's not great for like corners and free kicks. So this is a really difficult game. Like, they're going to be chucking the ball into the box for Mitrovic and Vlahovic and all the big men that they have. So to automatically think we're going to beat Serbia after coming off a loss against Iceland, then we're playing Denmark, who we beat with an extra time penalty in the last Euros. They have Rasmus Højlund from Man United, who's one of the quickest players in the tournament, and he's going to get a chance to play against a new centre-back pairing as well. Don't forget, we also don't have a real left-back in the team because Luke Shaw's not ready to play yet. So I don't get these phone-ins or and this shouldn't, in this country, there shouldn't be casual soccer fans, casual football fans. They shouldn't exist because it is the national sport. Everybody watches the Premier League. Everybody has a team. But the opinions are so disrespectful and so clueless to, especially Denmark and Serbia, that I think people are going to be surprised as to like how difficult some of these two, at least these 2 games are. I think England will win the group, but I'm certainly not touching these odds, and I certainly don't think we're going to go through maximum points.
All right. So what I heard was we should sprinkle Denmark and Serbia to win the group.
Okay, Serbia too, huh?
Oh, I actually, my single play was going to be Serbia, but I think we want exposure to both. And just in case the nuclear scenario happens, we think we want to take Serbia 1, Denmark 2 plus 3,000, and we want to take Denmark 1, Serbia 2 at 20 plus 2,500.
Shout out to Robert saying he's in on Germany. He likes Germany a lot. I think that was his lock there.
Oh, they've been heavy chalk before, and we came to the party and screwed it up. But we didn't get the invite.
Brian,
time.
Denmark and Serbia to win.
Germany to reach the semi. Germany's to reach the semis, which 8 of the last 10 hosts have done. Just to reach the semi-finals is a plus money selection. I got it plus 125. So, I mean, that's happened 80% of the time. 80% of the time since 1984. And so that's something that happens.
So Bill,
something that happens 80% of the time. Sorry, go on.
Do you have a favorite bet here for Group C? It sounds like you're scared to bet England, but you don't like the other teams that much.
No, I like Serbia to find a way to qualify from this group. I think on paper they are better than Denmark. They just haven't had good results, and I'm wondering if that's because they were given a very, very easy qualifying group, and a lot of those players play high-level European football. So I think they may have phoned it in. If you look at the talent that they have, there's a possibility they phoned in that group. And this is a real competitive tournament, and these players will come to play. So they may surprise some people, at least enough to qualify from this group. I think Serbia are better than Denmark. I think when you look at them man for man, that Serbia are a better side than Denmark.
All right, so Serbia to advance -210. Underdog Fantasy. Head over there. Use the promo code SGPN. Get the deposit match of $250 in bonus cash. I am looking at a jam-packed slate of Euros. I'm sure, Billy, you're going to be giving out some of your favorite Euro picks over on Soccer Gambling Podcast, higher or lower. I'm already seeing Germany versus Scotland. They have a ton of fantasy projections here. Anything you particularly like in the Germany versus Scotland game that we can get in on now over on Underdog Fantasy, Billy?
In terms of an individual bet from the game?
Yeah, a pick from Underdog Fantasy. They have basically everyone: goals, assists, shots. The goalies, obviously, goals allowed, higher or lower on any of those
cards.
Any jumping out at you.
Oh, it's a difficult one because the openers I think will be cagey. So I'm kind of looking at. It's a hard.
I gotta use that expression more. Well, do you think Scotland's going to score a goal?
No, I don't. So
okay, so you can take lower Manuel Neuer, half goals allowed lower. You can get that over on Underdog Fantasy, half goals lower. Or do we like the 2.5 saves higher?
No.
That's 1.25x.
No. Go spicy.
No, I don't think he's going to. I don't think he'll have that much to do. I do think that's that Scotland will try and sit in and take. The problem with this group is that they're trying to obviously generate more TV revenue by making more games and having more countries in it. But the thing is that with 16 out of 24 teams going through, a lot of teams may now sit in and try and nick a point or two here and there, and try and looking across to what the other third place teams are doing. That's the problem with it. So I think you'll get some cagey opening games. So yeah, I like Neuer.
Neuer lower a half goals over on Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. Kramer, speed round, Group D. What do we got?
Yes. All right. We got more good. This is probably the second group of death. Group D: France, Netherlands, Austria, Poland. -160 for France. Netherlands +260. Austria 7-1. Poland 19-1. Sean, doesn't appear like they can get this group or the light bulb screwed into the wall.
How many Polish soccer fullbacks does it take?
No,
right?
That's mean. It's
2024.
You can't do Polish jokes
Oh,
anymore.
come on. What are we looking at here, Billy? What is your favorite play for Group D? Is it as simple as, is there value in just taking France at -160 to win the group?
I really like Austria to qualify from this group.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know what you're seeing. Is it -120 possibly? Just because they need to be in the top three.
Yeah, I would say the market that seems to suck the most over here is the advanced markets. A lot of chalk in there.
Austria to qualify is -175, which sounds like if you shop around, maybe you could find a better price there. But okay, I'll co-sign Austria to move on.
You're a big Austria fan.
Yeah,
I know that.
What about Netherlands or France? What's your take there, Billy?
Well, I'm not. I have a feel. I wouldn't be surprised if Austria nick into second place. France should get through. I don't think it will be as convincing as people think, because again, they've got players who, they're the best team in the tournament, like in my opinion, and they're a little bit more balanced than England, but they've also got a lot of minutes in their legs. Their players, when you're a country with top players, well, guess what? Your top players have also playing for top teams around Europe who have had to have a lot of incentive to play until the end of the season. They've been going for league titles, cups, Champions League finals. So they've played competitive games all the way to the end. So France, England, Portugal, these teams, they've got the best players, but it might take them a while to click into this tournament. And, with players that have less miles in their legs, may be able to take advantage of this at this stage. But I still think France, even with that little handicap, are still too good to not get out of this group and probably not win it. Holland are a team with a problem. Memphis Depay is their main goal scorer. He's got an injury. Frankie de Jong, who's very, very underrated player. He doesn't really get the credit he deserves at Barcelona, but when he plays for Ajax and when he plays for Holland, he has a key role. He plays just in front of the defense, and he carries the ball forward and up to allowing the attackers to get themselves into attacking positions, because Frankie de Jong is going to bring the ball forward at pace, dribbling the ball 40, 50 yards at a time, which is so important in soccer. He also then drops back into his position, protects his back four, and breaks up the play. Frankie de Jong is a specialist in his position who does a job that makes him irreplaceable. So if you're a team and you buy Frankie de Jong, he's there to do two jobs: break up the play and carry the ball forward. If you lose that, someone else has to come in and take over a whole tactic, which centers around Frankie de Jong. It's very difficult to do. And obviously, if you lose the pie, your goal scorer, it's difficult to get around your main goal scorer not being there or being half fit. For Austria, they come into this as the form team in Europe. They've won 6 out of their last 7. They're unbeaten in 7. They drew their last game. Before they came into that, they were in 6 straight wins. Ralf Rangnick, who was the Man United caretaker manager, he turned down the Bayern Munich job, which is one of the biggest jobs in Europe, because he believes he's building something with this Austria team. They have the feel of a club side. And in international football, sometimes what you lack, because you only play 4 or 5 games a year, is chemistry. Well, this team have it because all of their players come from the RB system, which is something that Ralf Rangnick built. Ralf Rangnick was the RB Leipzig manager, but he was also employed by Red Bull. Red Bull buy football teams, buy soccer teams. They bought RB Salzburg, they bought RB Leipzig, and Ralf Rangnick ran the recruitment, the training, brought in the managers and the coaches, and he wanted to implement this style of play. Well, all of these Austrian players already play this style of play. This team are completely in sync. And even without their best player, which is David Alaba of Real Madrid's injured, they still are completely in sync with the way that they want to play. So what you have here is a team who play like a club side. They have complete chemistry like they're a club side. So that's going to make them very difficult to beat. So yeah, I mean, and also they don't quite have those players that have had those seasons where they've had to compete for Champions League and whatnot. So they'll be raring to go for these Euros. They're going to be a very difficult game for France and Holland. And I definitely think they'll pick up that one win to get out of this group.
I mean, if we learn anything from F1, you bet on Red Bull.
So
right?
Austria to advance minus 175, but also do we like them to win the group, Ryan? Are we going to take a little sprinkle on that?
It would be reckless not to, but I think the better bet is France 1, Austria 2 plus 400.
Ooh, okay.
Right, jot that one down.
I like that one.
So France 1, Austria 2.
It's 4-1. To me, that's one of the more favorite bets we've had here on the board. And just in general, the idea Red Bull knows how to roll out a top-notch recruitment and development organization. They've done it across many, many sports. And the idea that I'm able to buy into the Red Bull system in soccer in this Euro shit with this kind of price, I love this. Billy's got me hyped for the Austrian team. I didn't realize I was so into.
So yeah,
Kramer is an Austrian German name. So
screw the advance. I'm just playing France and Austria exacta. Benedict Dantold saying Austria Hungary to advance parlay. That makes it consumable. So you get a little parlay, a little action there. That's fun. Yeah, because Hungary to advance minus 145.
Since the Red Bull brand hired Ralf Rangnick as a director of football across all of their teams, which he was there to expand them, implement youth systems, implement a scouting base, implement an attacking philosophy. The Red Bull club's combined market value was 120 million before he took over. The market value after he left was 1.2 billion.
Jesus.
So,
oh my God,
that's how much. That's how successful these clubs were, Leipzig and Salzburg, because of Rangnick.
I think soccer overseas is popular, right? I'm getting that sense.
It's crazy, okay. And Red Bull knows what they're doing when it comes to just I don't know. What has Red Bull fucked up? I'm sure there's something we can find, and maybe there's some bodies buried somewhere.
Well, Red Bull vodka may have caused some problems, at least for me personally, in Las Vegas. So I think they're maybe there's a class action lawsuit.
I don't view them as an energy drink. I view them as a systems manufacturer.
Okay.
Yeah. All right.
I view Red Bull's a laxative, isn't it?
Well, it's it's like a cup of coffee. Get the heart rate up.
I will say it's a young man's game. That's
yeah,
for sure.
Definitely not.
Group E, Belgium, who I would imagine at this point are past their golden generation. -170 to win the Group E. Ukraine +330, Romania 8-1, and Slovakia +850. So definitely this has the best bad teams, at least based on odds, or maybe it's the worst best team. But the odds here are the most condensed of any group. What are we doing here, Billy?
Well, shout out to you. I know you did some research because you used the term golden generation, which is always linked to Belgium, and they are past their golden generation. So that's completely correct. And that's actually, I don't even need to say that now. That was going to be my opening line. So yeah, so that is 100% true. And they are a little bit too short to win this group. I mean, they're still relying on De Bruyne and Lukaku. They are bringing in some players through, like the likes of Luis Openda, but it's not to the same caliber that they had before. This does open up a chance for Ukraine as an underdog, maybe to win this group. Now, Ukraine won the Under-20s World Cup in 2019. So you're now seeing the results of that here coming through, where this Ukrainian team is better. Also, because of the political situation, they haven't actually played in Ukraine for years. So they are used to traveling to play all of their games. So playing in Germany will make no difference to Ukraine because they've not played in Ukraine anyway. So the fact that they got to this tournament without actually having any home advantage is a credit to them. Also, they're driven by the political situation. Like we saw Alexander Usyk, he's driven by the political situation, and whatever side of this whatever you believe, like obviously there's things that contrast this political situation, whether you think that Ukraine are the victims or the antagonists, it doesn't matter because these players think that their country is the victim and they'll play with that mentality. They'll play for their badge. They'll play for the country. It will give them 10% extra to give this country something to cheer about. So in any sport at the moment, it's always worth looking at Ukraine if the talent is there. And the talent is there because 5 years ago, the Under-20s won the World Cup. Those Under-20s are now 25-year-olds, and a lot of them are in this team. So that's why I think they're a definite dark horse to do something in this tournament.
Ooh, okay.
Also,
I like that.
Ukraine to win the group.
Chip on the shoulder.
Chip on the shoulder, and that political situation doesn't hurt with refereeing decisions either. That's what I've noticed.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, that our T-shirt might be a little hot to bring up right now.
Refs are terrorists.
Yeah,
don't wear this. Any listeners overseas.
The transcription, the words are going to be way too close together. This one might get flagged.
Yeah, they're called umps over there. I'm sure something different.
Yeah.
So Ukraine to win the group at +330.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that.
Anything else you like here, Billy, in Group E before we get to Group F?
I just like the dual forecast with Ukraine and Belgium in any order. If you have that, like I think you only have the
exact to box on.
All right, so the price.
You can bet it both ways. So it's kind of.
I just found the boxed prices. Holy,
Kramer,
I love soccer betting.
The France and Australia, is that 1-2 order, like
Austria.
France 1 and Austria 2?
Well, now that I found all right, so France, Austria 1-2 in a box is actually +250. But what we took was France 1, Austria 2.
Okay, because I like both those, but.
Would you like to take the box price at +250? Yeah. So the price on Belgium and Ukraine boxed is +110.
Okay. Well, I'll just stick with Ukraine +330. Kramer, what are you doing officially?
If you wanted to do Ukraine 1, Belgium 2 +550, that's what I'll do. Although Ukraine just to win is probably, but if they win, Belgium's going to come in second. Might as well make it +550. Yeah, let's do that. Ukraine 1, Belgium 2 +550. All right. Group F, final group, Portugal, who I believe hasn't lost a tournament or whatever they call global competition game in some time. Portugal quite good, and Sean, as you know, Cristiano Ronaldo, who's very attractive, plays for this team.
Is he in MLS?
Yep, he's in the MLS over in Saudi Arabia though. -210 for them to win the group. Turkey +450, Czech Republic plus 500, and Georgia. This is crazy. Yeah, Kirby Smart's taking a team over to the Euros, so I guess maybe they did invite some Americans.
Legendary defense.
Yeah, maybe you get Herschel Walker out there.
Stetson Bennett is playing for Georgia.
Can we? Oh wow, he's all the way back.
Well, right. Everyone wanted to know where Stetson Bennett was. He was overseas getting ready for the Georgia Euros.
Oh yeah, and it turns out Herschel can't. He's too busy campaigning. 23-1 for Georgia. Billy, what are we doing in Group F?
This is one of the ones where there's not too much to say because it does feel like pretty straightforward. Georgia have some very good players in Kvaratskhelia, who plays for Napoli. You do have a player you do have a 100 million pound player in Georgia, which makes it like difficult to just disregard him here. But this is going to be Portugal's group. I can see Portugal going through with a 100% record. They had a 100% record in qualifying, which is what Kramer was trying to say. They qualified with 10 wins out of 10 in the qualification process, which means that that's under this new manager. So this manager gets a lot of criticism because he didn't win anything with Belgium. He only came third in a World Cup. But the thing is that Belgian golden generation, yes, they had amazing players, Hazard, De Bruyne, Lukaku at their peak, but they were very top heavy and they had a great goalkeeper in Courtois as well, but they didn't quite have the defense in front of them. And that was always their weakness. This team he inherited now in Portugal are completely balanced. In fact, if you take this Portugal squad and you made two teams out of it, and this is not, I don't think this is too bold a statement, both the teams would be in the top 6 to win this tournament. So if you took Portugal's A team and Portugal's B team, Portugal's A team would be plus 800 and Portugal's B team would be around about plus 1400 to win this. That's my opinion. That's how good this squad is. So they've got cover everywhere. They've got centre forward in Ronaldo. They can play a false 9. They've got fast wingers. They've got skillful wingers. They've got holding midfielders. They've got centre backs, attacking wing backs, fullbacks, defensive fullbacks, quality sub goalkeepers. This is the most complete team at the tournament in Portugal, and I really like them to have a real serious run this year. And it all opens up for them. They're one of these teams who they win this group. They play a third place team. And then in the quarterfinals, they play a second place team because they play a third place team if they win the group. And then they play a winner out of 2 second place teams in a round of 16. So they play a third place team and then a runner up. That's their route, their potential route to a semi-final where things will step up. But they're on the semi-final side where they don't play England or France. So if this fantasy thing I hear on the radio about how England are going to play France comes to fruition, Portugal avoid all of that. So
lock it up. Give me Portugal minus 210 for the group. Kramer.
Well, why don't we? Billy also mentioned for them to get through perfect.
Ooh,
9 points. Portugal to have 9 points in the group is 2-1.
Okay. Yeah. See, I'm worried.
You want to be a little more cautious.
No, I think Portugal might be a little cautious. I worry if they win their first 2 games, they're not going to give a shit about if they get a tie in game 3.
Here's why that's different to every other team. Because, as I just mentioned, they bring in their second team. Their second team all believe they should be in the first team. So when the second team comes in after they have 2 wins, they're going to turn around and play they're going to play in a way where they make a statement to say, I should be picked. Every single one of them is going to want to make a statement to say, I want to be in contention for the next game. I want to take his place or I want to take his place. So it's different to all the other teams because the second team come in and they're fully incentivized to try and get, steal places on the first team. Because this first team doesn't necessarily pick itself. There are 3 or 4 places in this first 11 that are up for grabs, including Ronaldo's, because there's a lot of debate as to whether Ronaldo should start. As a player who plays for PSG called Gonzalo Ramos, who could fit into Ronaldo's position.
Wow.
So Portugal,
so Caitlin Clark and Ronaldo might be losing their spot for this summer.
Portugal 9 points plus 200.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, let's give out some locks, some dogs, some outright winners, even your take on the Golden Boot. But let's get to it for the tournament itself. Billy, who are you? Who do you find some value in? Who do you think is very fit? Obviously, the favorite France plus 390, England plus 350.
Sounds like Portugal 6-1, baby.
Do we just ride with Portugal 6-1?
I really like Portugal 6-1 because of the balance. There's too many question marks over England and France. With France, they've made Kylian Mbappe their captain. I'm not sure that I've never seen that really work where your best player, who's a forward, is made the captain. It's not an ideal position on the pitch. Either you don't really make goalkeepers captains and you don't really make centre forwards captains. It's very schoolboyish. It's very like what you do on the school field, where you go, you're the best player, so you be the captain. And you're surrounded by a group of players that don't really want to be told that someone's the best player than to give and pass him the ball and he'll win the game for you. I don't think Griezmann will like that. I don't think like other players in his team will like that. Like these are all world-class players, and something just doesn't sit right about the balance. I mean, this team, their last game, I don't want to read too much into it, but they struggled to break down Canada. It was a 0-0 draw. So that was France's last game, and they looked pretty disjointed for a favourite to win this tournament. We spoke about England's problems, and obviously the hosts haven't won since '84. So, yeah, through process of elimination, and because they had such a good qualifying campaign, and because they're so balanced, it does lead me to Portugal. Yeah,
love it.
I would, it does seem like this is, and just in general, they always show up for these competitions. They're not soft like some places. And Mbappe also, not to get deep into this, but he doesn't strike me as the kind of guy that's loved by all his teammates and or a leader. He strikes me more as like an Odell Beckham type.
Should I cue the boat trip music, Ryan?
It strikes me as a bad decision for a captain. I don't know. Like everyone's fucking good. Maybe get one of those like big defensive guys who can just put everyone in their fucking place.
What about
you know the Mbappe story from why he stayed 2 years at PSG?
Well, no, let's hear it.
Well, he agreed to stay 2 years if he could have a say in the coach and all of the players that they purchased. That was the only way that he would stay.
He's LeBron.
So he wanted it. Yeah,
that's unbelievable. All right,
and then he still left.
I'm out on that.
Yeah, Billy, what do you like? Do they call it the Golden Boot here for the Euros? Who do you like for that? Most goals scored.
So there's players I like more logically because you want to take teams that are going to advance as far as they can. But I did some research on this, and since the market was available in 1996, the average odds for the top goal scorer are 34-1. So if you add up all the people that have won it, the average odds come in at 34-1, which means that your favourites aren't usually winning this. It's somebody who has a standout performance in the group stage or carries his team on his back. I like Ronaldo because I do think Portugal are going to go far. I think they're going to go through to at least the semi-finals. Lukaku was the top goal scorer in qualifying. So I'm staying away from Mbappe and Kane, and I'm looking at Lukaku and Ronaldo. But if you go way further down, there's a Ukrainian striker.
Yes.
I'm trying to find his price here. Artem Dovbyk. I've got him around about 50-1.
Oh, Sean, write this down.
So the reason I like him is because he's just carried a team called Girona in Spain, who are a mid-table team in Spain, and they have just finished second. I think they finished second or third in the end. I think they finished third, but they qualified for the Champions League due to the fact that he scored 24 goals for Girona this season. So he is in red hot form, and it's difficult to score 24 goals for Girona. So the fact that they qualified for the Champions League is largely in part to the goals that he scored. So, I mean, he's a player who scored goals everywhere. He hasn't really lit it up as an international yet, but he has had like a breakout season. He scored 44 goals in 71 for Dino Pro. And then he moved to Girona, where he scored 24 goals in his first season in 36 games. So if Ukraine are going to actually do well in this tournament, he's going to contribute towards the scoring. He's too big at 50-1 for a team that I think are getting out of the group and will play 4, maybe 5 games in this tournament.
We like that price.
Oh, yeah. Say no more, Billy. 50-1. I'm in. All right, let's do it. Let's give out a dog and 2 locks. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the Soccer Gambling Podcast wherever you get your podcast. Kramer,
Just to be clear, we're not sprinkling Red Bull to win it all, aka Austria. No chance there, Billy.
70-1.
I mean, they're the informed team going into it, but I don't think they have enough quality to. I think at some point, much like so in the league in Europe this year, there was a team called Bayer Leverkusen who were undefeated for the entire season. They even won the German league ahead of Bayern Munich, and they implement a similar type of style, moving the ball around very quickly, pressing high up the pitch. But eventually, in the Europa League final, they got found out. The tactic to play against them was basically just to sit in and not overcommit and let them, because they want you to overcommit so they can create space and play around you. Now, I don't want to get too deep into the tactical side of things, but my point is that 4 or 5 games into this tournament, if Austria are having a great tournament, one of the top managers in this tournament, like a Deschamps, will work them out, and they'll work out a way to beat them. Because at the end of the day, there are too many teams in this tournament that have better players than Austria. So whilst Austria may be a great team with like great chemistry, I think they'll get worked out by a coach, and it'll be difficult to see them going all the way. But I strongly like them to get out of their group.
So here's the plan then, Sean. When they get out of the group and they're massive underdogs in that first elimination round, then we look to maybe play them to shock the world. Single game, shock the world.
All right, I like
maybe
it.
First half, shock the world.
Kramer, what's your dog and 2 locks?
I like how you're having me go. Well, based on the excitement that we heard from Billy here, I think first of all the France Austria exacta box. Let me pull up that the plus 250. I think it was. Let me see here.
France Austria 1-2 any order plus 250.
Yes. I believe that's what it was. I'm just confirming that's going to be, is that a dog or a lock? You think that's probably a lock, right?
Your call. It's plus 250. So qualifies.
Yeah. We'll go lock with that one.
Okay.
Yeah. France. No, plus 400 was the,
the exact is plus 400.
Yeah, you're right.
The box
you're right.
is 250.
You're right. Oh shit. That's right. I wanted to get excited. All right. The lock, number 2.
Wait, so what's your first lock?
That one,
the box or the
box plus 250.
Okay. France and Australia.
Lock number 2.
Austria.
Yeah, we've been confused. I confused Austria for Australia yesterday on the golf episode.
Yeah, they're fine.
Ukraine to win the group. We're gonna lock that up as well.
Oh wow! And what's your dog?
My dog. Oh shit! Actually, make Ukraine the dog, and then my other lock's gonna be Portugal 9 points 2-1.
Okay.
Shopping hungry.
Ryan is very hungry. Okay, for me, first lock. I mean, Spain to win the group at plus 100 that's a delicious value, great steal. My other lock, give me Hungary to advance, and then for my dog, I'd like everything that Kramer gave out as well. We're on a lot of the same sides, but I'll go with Denmark plus 490. I know a choker when I see one, and this England team is going to. They might advance, but I don't think they're going to win this group. Billy, you can print that. You can tell your lads over there that Denmark is coming for them. Plus 490 to win the group.
Denmark, Serbia exacta box is 14-1.
That's interesting, but I think I kind of like the Denmark 1. England 2, because I don't think they're going to completely shit the bed, but I think them fucking around and losing one game that they shouldn't, I think is certainly in the realm of possibility. I've watched too much international football, aka soccer, in my day. Billy, close it out. What's a dog and 2 locks you like?
Okay, so my lock is Portugal to reach the semifinals. I don't know if you have that, but I mean. There might be a different way, an alternative way to bet it. Do you have maybe Portugal to reach the final?
I do.
Oh, you have to reach the semifinal. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So
what do you have
for them to reach the semifinal? Oh no, this is stage of elimination here. I'll keep looking.
Continue. So Portugal to reach the semis. Okay. I
got Portugal to reach the semis. Now, my other bet, which is a very might be a niche prop, is over 1.5 matches to go to penalty shootouts. Now you're going to have, you're going to have 15 cracks at that, where some of these teams that get through, when these lesser teams go through, they're going to carry on playing tight and cagey football. In the last World Cup, we saw Spain get pushed to penalties with Morocco in a game where Spain absolutely dominated the ball and just couldn't score. So Morocco's entire strategy was to implement the low block, play horrible tactics, horrible football, and try to force games into penalties or to nick a goal, which they did successfully against Portugal when they won 1-0. So I certainly think that with these caliber of teams guaranteed to get through to the round of 16, that this play could hit over 1.5 shootouts, could hit before we even get to the quarterfinals. I think we could actually have that in the round of 16. But I mean, a final, for example, a final is always a chance that could go to penalties, because finals, we know we love the finals and get the biggest ratings and we all want to watch the finals, but finals are notoriously cagey. In fact, I took my Champions League lock for the final was on the under, and it hit easily. In fact, since 2018, 6 straight finals in the Champions League have gone under. So, you know, if a game's going under, it's cagey, and cagey games can go to penalties. So, yeah, over 1.5 is not the right line. I think I would have set this at over 2.5. So there's definitely value on the over. For a dog, let me try and find a dog. I'm gonna go for. So you got stage of elimination there, right?
Yes.
Did you say you had stage of elimination? I'm going to go for Austria, stage of elimination, quarterfinals.
So I got that at plus 500.
Right. Yeah. Because I think that's where they'll come unstuck, when they come up against a team in the quarterfinals. When they become the underdog team that people are talking about, I think the pressure will get to them. Yeah, I think that's where they'll go.
And that means, Sean, that we will have that opportunity in the round of 16 to most likely take them potentially as an underdog. So make sure we put Josh let's make sure we note that in the calendar. Austria round of 16 mega whale play. Shout out to Red.
Fucking wheel, man.
In all honesty, I'd like to take both Austria and Ukraine to be eliminated in the quarters, because I think that they're the two teams out of all the if you disregard all the fashionable teams everybody's talking about, they are the teams who from the lower end of the market who can make a run. These are your teams in the, where are they? So 10. What's Ukraine? 10-1, and Austria.
So we have 5-1 for. We have 5-1 for Austria to get eliminated in the quarterfinals. We have 6-1 on Ukraine.
Right. Okay.
Ukraine,
yeah, but I mean, in that region of Austria being 66-1 to win the tournament and Ukraine being 100-1 to win the tournament, from that section of the outright winner, which no one looks at, I think they might be the teams who get into that last 8, who might have a shot of like breaking up the hierarchy. Because obviously when you look at these odds, it's England, France, Germany, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Netherlands, Belgium. All 8 of those are expected to be in the final 8. That won't happen. That has never happened in any tournament in my lifetime, where the top 8 in the market all successfully navigate their way through to the quarterfinals. That won't happen. That's not how soccer works. So it's not how any sport works.
Sean, how you feeling?
Great.
75 minutes of soccer.
Great. Well, especially because he switched up to soccer at the end. Appreciate you translating for our audience, Billy. Appreciate all you've done in your decades of service here for SGPN. Make sure you subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. Soccer Gambling Podcast, premier soccer handicapper. You're not going to find a better capper.
I'm sure he's on
top of his game, getting ready for the Euros.
But with the
amazing hair.
With the hair.
I mean, for our network, I feel like not great hair. Billy really pulls his weight when it comes to hair.
Yeah, we were doing the VSiN spot the other day, and we had a guest with hair, and our producer got very excited about his look. So I don't know. New
entry on the lacrosse show. Amazing hair as well. He could give Billy for his a run for his money, but even
Billy's hair is pretty.
Billy's still heavy favorite. Yeah. Billy,
this is why
appreciate it.
This is why Chronos needs me to start putting in some videos. I think.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
People want
you're
more
sexy, Billy. Let's go.
People want more Billy video content. Again, subscribe to the Soccer Gambling Podcast.
Thank you for participating in the Sports Gambling Podcast.
For the Sports Gambling Podcast, I'm Sean, second the money green. He's Ryan.
I guess let's go Portugal.
Kramer. Let it ride.